The hero of our story was betrayed by his closest friend, and not only that, but his beloved also betrayed him. While he was on the verge of death, he suddenly found himself in a void before the three most powerful kings of all time. There, he trained with them for 100 years before returning to his world once again. What will he do with the power he has gained during this period? And will he be able to take revenge on those who betrayed him? This is what we will discover in our story today. Our story this time begins at the end of the world at the hands of monsters after they invaded Earth. It is revealed that one day, due to an open portal between different realms, vast numbers of ferocious creatures entered Earth. Consequently, humanity faced the threat of total annihilation. However, at that moment, an entirely different world connected to the open portal emerged. This was a realm of knights and magic, appearing to be the salvation from the ensuing destruction. The world was known as Einhart. Despite the overwhelming number of monsters spreading everywhere, the soldiers of Einhart fought them with great strength. Martial arts based on internal energy and the Dantian were also used to confront them. This introduced the martial arts world, known as Murim. Additionally, there was a realm called the Demonic Land, known as Gehenna. Its name alone evoked the very essence of hell. As for the humans who once ruled Earth, they were left to suffer in the chaos of the current era. Nevertheless, some individuals began to develop new abilities that enabled them to resist, utilizing the system to gain extraordinary powers. These individuals started helping people and saving them from the threat of monsters and death. They came to be known as players. The other realms, however, were not on good terms with these players. This became evident when Murim fighters observed players rescuing people, demanding they stay away and avoid causing trouble. But the players continued their mission, earning gratitude from the people they helped. One player warned the crowd to avoid the portal, as it posed a significant danger. Meanwhile, we meet our protagonist, one of the players, frustrated by the behavior of Murim fighters toward him every time they encountered him, as they always caused him problems. His friend explained that the Murim intruders often acted this way, disregarding humans, which was nothing new. He added that the Dantian power and mana circle of the Murim fighter they encountered indicated a high rank. At that moment, the protagonist spotted a massive monster attacking a car with people inside, screaming for help. He immediately used his abilities, opening a screen to display the situation. He discovered that the monster was a three-headed werewolf of medium rank, and that someone inside the car urgently needed rescue. He shouted at others, questioning why they were standing still, urging them to confront the monster quickly. Then, he moved to rescue the people himself. His friend called out to him, revealing the protagonist's name, Iron, and tried to stop him. Yet Iron didn't halt, despite his friend's reminder that monsters of this rank should be left to the Volcano Guild. Iron responded without slowing down, saying he understood but suspected the guild members were struggling. Iron pulled out a massive hook and directed it toward the monster, striking one of its three heads. At the same time, members of the Volcano Guild expressed frustration at his interference. Iron then used his unique skill, State Control, to reveal the abilities of everyone present. He began using his powers to subdue the monster, but soon realized it was incredibly strong, quickly depleting his energy. Iron called on his friend for immediate help to sever the monster's head. His friend rushed in, scolding him for never listening and putting himself in danger due to his recklessness. Using a cannon strike technique, his friend launched a swift attack, calling out Iron's name. Iron looked at him with a broad smile, calling him a true and loyal friend who always had his back. However, he is shocked as his friend approaches him from behind and attacks, declaring that he must kill him to survive. Iron falls injured after being stabbed in the back by his deceitful friend. Despite the trust and affection he held for him, the traitor stands laughing alongside members of the Volcano Guild, having betrayed his loyal companion. Despite this, Iron manages to escape, even as they continue to chase him, intent on capturing him after his fall. He reaches his home and tells his beloved that they must flee immediately. To his dismay, she too betrays him, standing there crying and apologizing as two members of the Volcano Guild emerge, waiting to capture him. At that moment, Iron feels despair and disappointment, realizing that everyone he trusted has betrayed him. The scene shifts to a new setting, where we see Iron lying in the mud, in a pitiful state after being captured. Behind him stands a figure pressing a foot on his back, ordering him to get up quickly, remarking that his current state is unbecoming of someone who was once close to becoming one of the greatest players. It is revealed that he is now in the Moyong region, a place where the bodies of monsters defeated by the Volcano Guild are discarded, known as a living hell. Iron narrates that he has spent 5 years in this condition, in this place, and attempts to activate his status display as he used to do, but it fails. However, this time is different, as he is startled to see the screen appear distorted. Gradually, the image becomes clearer, revealing that he has been chosen to become a vessel of chaos, accompanied by a warning that accepting this role might lead to the destruction of the world. Iron laughs upon seeing the word destruction, thinking that all he desires is an end to his pain. Thus, he decides to accept becoming the vessel of chaos, beginning to feel a strange sensation. Iron then finds himself in a new place that resembles the vastness of space, surrounded by an unfamiliar aura. Still consumed by the pain of betrayal, he hears voices around him asking if he is truly the chosen vessel of chaos. It dawns on him that he is in the mythical realm of Gehenna, which now dominates Earth, and he sees before him 3 kings gazing at him in astonishment. Iron realizes that these figures are none other than legends from the forgotten past of the 3 realms, now relegated to history. The first is the Silver King, who conquered an entire continent with his bare hands, named King Moyang. The second is the King of Einhart, who split the sky with his sword, and is known as the Sword King. The third is the Queen who slew gods and shattered divinity, the Queen of Gehenna, also called the Demon Queen. The 3 kings gather around him in this mythical realm, revealing that they are trapped here in the realm of chaos. The Sword King looks at Iron and asks about his condition, questioning if he truly is the chosen vessel of chaos, while King Moyang asks why Iron avoids looking at them directly. The Demon Queen remarks that it is only natural, considering he has been forced to come to this place. Yet Iron ignores their words, focusing instead on the screen that appears before him once more. There, he reads that after surviving this place, he will become the vessel of chaos, accompanied by another warning that the fate of the world hinges on the chaos he will unleash. In that moment, Iron reflects on those who betrayed him, considering this his opportunity to exact revenge on all who wronged him while they lived their lives happily. The three kings observe him, with the Demon Queen commenting that he is an odd young man. King Moyang adds that he is disrespectful in his behavior toward them, a sentiment echoed by the Sword King. The Sword King then asks Iron if he believes he will find peace simply through vengeance, noting that as the chosen vessel of chaos, the task seems easy, since the world will be destroyed the moment he entered this place. Iron finally responds, saying that after understanding what he must do, he feels relief, as he genuinely desires the complete destruction of the world. The Sword King tells him that this means his revenge will not be his own doing, but the result of the chaos that ensues. King Moyang adds that this also means his body and mind will no longer belong to him, and all he will receive is a message informing him of the world's end. Iron remains silent, prompting the Demon Queen to ask if this kind of revenge will truly satisfy him. Iron questions what she expects him to do, to which the Demon Queen responds with a wicked smirk, saying he should exact his revenge himself. It seems that the Sword King and King Moyang agree with her as she elaborates, stating that he should kill them and tear their bodies apart with his own hands to truly relish the feeling of vengeance. Iron looks at them with sorrow and despair, asking how he can accomplish any of that in his current state, having lost all his abilities as a player, and now being nothing more than a slave. The Sword King responds with surprise, asking if Iron truly doesn't know who they are, hinting that he could inherit all their abilities. King Moyang adds that if Iron can also gain control over the chaos within him. The Demon Queen questions whether revenge would still seem difficult in that case, asserting that if he thought carefully, he could even become the ruler of the entire world. They all offer to help him achieve that, promising that he will inherit all three of their powers. Upon hearing their proposal, Iron contemplates the true motive of the three kings in making him their disciple, but concludes that it doesn't matter to him now. What matters is fulfilling his personal goal and avenging those who betrayed him. Thus, he decides to accept their offer immediately. He looks at them and asks if he may call them his masters. The Demon Queen eagerly agrees, thrilled by his acceptance, while the Sword King is surprised by how quickly Iron made his decision. However, King Moyang remarks that everything is now as it should be. Iron recounts that from that moment on, he became the disciple of the three kings. He begins intense training under the guidance of his masters, the three kings. Iron narrates that time and death seem to stand still in that world, and after completing his rigorous and demanding training, he finally managed to gain control over the chaos within himself. Suddenly, he finds himself back at the very moment when he chose to become the vessel of chaos, with the same man pressing his foot on Iron's back, asking if he was really lying in this filthy place. Iron then realizes that time had been frozen at that moment before his journey to the realm of chaos and everything that transpired there. At that instant, Iron uses his newfound strength to grab the man's foot and throw him aside with ease. As he strikes the man, he attempts to summon the status display, but it doesn't appear, prompting Iron to comment that he had anticipated this. He looks at his hands and notices that his body remains in the same weakened state, having lost all his abilities as a player, with nothing seemingly changed. Iron remarks that if not for the teachings of his masters, he might have believed that everything he experienced and the 100 years of training he endured were merely a dream. He recalls when King Moyang told him that upon returning to his world, he would lose all the powers he inherited from them in their realm. At the time, Iron was taken aback and asked why. The Demon Queen explained that it was because his powers would be far beyond the limits of the world he belongs to, making them uncontrollable. Moreover, the chaos within him would only heighten the difficulty of managing such immense power. When King Moyang notices that Iron still doesn't understand what he must do, he explains that Iron needs to rebuild his body from scratch in a way that allows him to withstand and control his new power. As Iron recalls his master's words, the man he struck earlier stands up and threatens to kill him for what he did. However, when the man attempts to attack, he is shocked as Iron effortlessly blocks his powerful strike, unable to believe Iron's newfound strength. Iron narrates that this man is named Shul, his supervisor who tormented him like a demon for the past 5 years, despite only being a 5th-level fighter. Iron declares that now, after rebuilding his body, he will never lose to Shayul again. Iron remembers King Moyang's lesson, where he said even a simple villager could defeat a weak warrior if they mastered the intent to kill within themselves. He explained that the intent to kill is merely a mental force that one can learn to control. Recalling these words, Iron gives Shul a terrifying glare and tells him he will tear him to pieces. He grabs Shul's arm and twists it until the bones shatter. Shul screams in pain, helpless as he watches his arm break and blood pour out uncontrollably. Iron continues to beat him relentlessly, tearing his body apart using the killing intent he mastered under King Moyang's guidance. He leaves Shayul lying motionless on the ground, drenched in his own blood. All of this unfolds before a gathering crowd, drawn by Shul's screams, who now watch Iron in utter terror. Iron stands firm, contemplating that reckless violence only breeds resistance. However, he concludes that fear is a much deeper force, embedding itself in the core of a person, ensuring that whenever Shul sees him, he will feel an overwhelming, paralyzing terror. Iron then decides he must leave this place immediately before the Volcano Guild members discover what has happened. As he attempts to break the chains that bound him, a man nearby stops him, asking where he thinks he's going, but Iron pays no attention to his words. silently breaking the chains with ease and taking off running. He reaches the opening of the pit where monster corpses are discarded, a place filled with toxic gases and substances from the decaying bodies. Without hesitation, Iron leaps into the pit, even though not even the overseers dare approach it, leaving the onlookers in shock. With great difficulty, he reaches the bottom of the pit, which is a pool of monster corpses and blood. Iron declares that this is the perfect place for his training in the demon blood technique. He recalls King Moyang's teachings about martial arts and secret techniques, mentioning the divine volcano technique as an example, but stating that the demon blood technique he was shown is at least 5 times greater. He explains that it is the most powerful form of martial arts, with a simple yet sinister foundation, stealing the energy of others and converting it into his own strength. The core goal of the technique revolves around blood, acting as a dark and malevolent sorcery that absorbs the life force within blood to enhance internal power. This is the essence of the demon blood technique, but it comes with one critical condition. Iron recalls King Moyang's words, where he explained that Iron must possess a dantian within his body. This is the source of power for warriors from the Silver World, and serves as the equivalent of a magical core for players. King Moyang also explained to Iron that if he didn't belong to the Silver World, creating a dantian would be impossible for him. However, he added that there was still another way. No matter how many times he died, whether tens or hundreds of times, he must persist until he succeeded. This revealed the reason Iron descended into the pit of corpses and toxic gases, to use the transformation method invented by the 3 kings over 3,000 years ago. Indeed, after countless attempts and enduring repeated deaths, just as the kings had, Iron finally succeeded in creating a dantian within his body. Once the process was complete, Iron was able to recall each step of the transformation with perfect clarity. The first step involved absorbing the blood around him to form energy circles. The second step was creating the dantian within his body. This enabled him to activate the demon blood absorption technique. Iron remarked that the pain he endured during the process was unlike any pain experienced in this world. Iron further explained that the reason entry to the monster corpse disposal area was forbidden wasn't just because of the toxic gases emitted by the decaying bodies, but also because of the deformed monsters born from the death energy surrounding the corpses, essentially, the undead. In this place, Iron faced undead creatures of all kinds, including zombie goblins that attacked him. However, after his transformation and acquisition of new abilities, he was able to defeat them. Iron noted that each type of undead possessed deadly poison used in their attacks, and that they could only be killed by decapitating them. He added that in his old body, he would have been an easy meal for them, but now he saw them as pitiful creatures. We see Iron effortlessly severing their heads with his bare hands, without the need for any weapons. Iron declared that for the first time, he finally felt alive. He explained that this world was known as the Crimson Blood Realm, where he could absorb the blood of his opponents and convert it into nutrients that became his own energy. He also discovered an additional benefit of the Crimson Blood. The remnants of blood and iron fused into solid metal spheres. These spheres could be used as weapons against monsters. We see Iron collecting the solid metal spheres and using them against the monsters, stating that he would devour them all and leave no trace behind. After throwing the spheres at them, he attacked swiftly and with agility, smashing their heads with ease. He then gathered the newly formed metal spheres to reuse them, enabling him to kill large numbers of monsters in each assault. Iron remarked that all these zombie monsters were nothing more than prey to him. The more monsters he defeated and absorbed their nutritional elements, the stronger he became. After these victories, Iron stood tall, realizing that what he was experiencing wasn't so bad after all. At that moment, a massive monster appeared behind him, one unlike anything Iron had ever encountered in this place. The creature was enormous, and far more powerful than the other monsters. Iron was surprised to see a zombie troll in this area, but he felt no fear. Instead, he remarked that this was the level of challenge he had expected from the monsters in this place. The scene transitions to a new location, far from the monster corpse pit. A man is seen crying, saying that he is going to die and begging someone to save him from his fate. It is revealed that the person he is pleading with is none other than the traitorous friend who had betrayed Iron in the past. One of the traitor's soldiers addresses him as Commander and informs him that he has summoned the remaining guards who were present during the recent events. When the guards enter, the commander asks them about Shul, the guard who had been overseeing Iron in captivity, and what happened to him. One of the guards responds, explaining that Shul was training a slave, but the slave appeared to be asleep during the session and suddenly grabbed Shul forcefully. The commander approaches the guard and asks if those are all the details, and if anything unusual happened. The guard replies that the slave stared intensely at Shul. The commander is surprised by this detail and anxiously wonders if this might indicate the presence of killing intent. However, he dismisses the thought as impossible unless the slave had knowledge of martial arts and internal energy. The commander then asks where the slave is currently. The guard replies that the slave killed himself after the incident. The commander questions the guard about the body to confirm the suicide. The guard hesitates and claims that the slave headed toward the monster corpse disposal area, insisting that the body must have already dissolved due to the toxins there. The commander realizes the guard is lying, as his report stated that the slave had committed suicide, likely to avoid entering the corpse area. Grabbing the guard by the face, the commander demands if he knows why they are stationed in this place. The commander tells the guard that their presence here is due to a group of useless guards being beaten by a mere slave, and that the death of someone insignificant doesn't concern him. What bothers him is the fact that the slave's biosignature disappeared without a trace, followed by this fabricated story of a suicide with no body found. The commander then asks the guard if he has any reason why his life should be spared. The guard, trembling with fear, begs for mercy. However, the commander shows no mercy and kills the guard on the spot in front of the others. Addressing the remaining guards, the commander orders them to choose between sharing the dead guard's fate or finding and retrieving the slave's body for him. One of them volunteers to take on the task of searching for the body. The commander orders them to move immediately, and they quickly run off. After they leave, the commander tells his aides that the guards will likely die from the toxins before finding the body. He adds that he and his group will head to the corpse disposal area themselves after completing their current mission. Clearly furious, the commander orders that no one disturb them until all matters are resolved. The scene transitions to 2 weeks later. Iron is shown standing alone in the corpse and zombie area, having nearly consumed all the monsters there. Holding a strange-looking sphere, Iron remarks that he has reached the second stage of the demon blood absorption technique, called self-blood. He notices an opening in the wall and speculates that toxins might be leaking from it. Deciding to investigate, he throws the sphere he's holding toward the opening. Iron explains that the self-blood technique allows him to focus his energy and gain additional benefits. At that moment, the sphere triggers a massive explosion in the wall. Standing unfazed by the blast, Iron continues talking about the self-blood technique, which has significantly enhanced his resistance to toxins, noting that without reaching this stage, his body would have already dissolved. He adds that he won't remain here any longer, and that the preparations he needed are now complete, fulfilling the purpose of his stay. Exploring beyond the wall, Iron discovers a new kind of monster known as high-tier beasts. He notes that these monsters are extremely dangerous and cannot be confronted directly. Among the most renowned monsters were dragons. Iron recounts the tale of one such dragon, the serpent dragon, Ojuglas, who escaped from the portal and caused widespread panic and fear among the people. He explains that the dragon was originally dead, but was resurrected after a long time, filled with rage. At the time, many players risked their lives attempting to face it, and a miracle occurred when they managed to kill it. However, this event led to utter chaos, as the dragon's corpse drew immense attention due to its extraordinary value. Dragon blood was regarded as the finest alchemical substance, and its bones could be used to craft rare and exceptional weapons. Yet Oyuglas was filled with poison, rage, and magic. Simply touching its corpse was enough to dissolve any person's body. For this reason, the Einhart Guild established the corpse disposal area, where the dragon's body was naturally cleansed using slaves to absorb the toxins. Iron places his hand on the skeletal remains of the dead dragon and continues speaking, vowing to reclaim all the suffering he endured here, along with all the rewards. He activates the demon blood absorption technique on the deceased dragon, Ojuglas. At this moment, Iron recalls his conversation with King Moyang when the latter asked him about dragon eggs. Iron replied that he intended to absorb those eggs upon his return. Moyang had responded that dragon eggs would help him regain tremendous power, but he also warned that the process would cause him unbearable pain. Returning to the present, Iron is already experiencing excruciating pain, just as Moyang had warned. He realizes that his mind is beginning to lose focus, and that without the training he received from his masters, he would have already died. Despite this, he feels an overwhelming surge of energy coursing through him as his internal energy grows from the dragon blood energy circles. Though the dragon has been dead for a long time, its power remains potent. Iron's agony intensifies, and he screams in pain as he notices his circulatory system becoming excessively saturated with energy. He realizes that if he stops absorbing now, the immense internal energy will react violently and lead to his death. Yet if he continues absorbing, his body might explode from the excess energy. He finds himself facing an impossible choice but had anticipated such scenarios beforehand. The only uncertainty was whether this was the ultimate way to handle the situation. Iron recalls his conversation with the Demon Queen, where he asked her what would happen if his body couldn't handle all this energy. The Demon Queen responded that dragons are highly revered, even in Gehenna, and that it's nearly impossible for a human body to withstand such power. However, she added that the solution was simple. The only way was to transform into a dragon. Shocked by her words, Iron asked if such a transformation was possible. She replied that after inheriting all their powers, he shouldn't be surprised by anything anymore, reminding him that his goal was to reclaim his full strength and that becoming a dragon was merely a step on his journey. Returning to the present, Iron reflects that the biological insights he learned from his mentor Virginia, the Demon Queen, will aid him in reconstructing his body and transforming into another form. He believes that nothing is impossible for him, especially after becoming a vessel of chaos and successfully controlling it within himself. However, the pain he currently feels surpasses what anyone could endure. Iron recalls the discussion with King Moyang and the Demon Queen, where Moyang suggested that transforming into a dragon might be the ideal way to handle this situation. In the Silver World, individuals who possess a dragon's body are given a unique title, Dragon Bone Physique. In this context, we see that Iron has finally overcome the painful process and now possesses the Dragon Bone Physique. The scene shifts to the commander and his group, who are confronted by something that utterly terrifies them. The commander asks what exactly happened, and it is revealed that they have arrived at the corpse disposal site, only to find it completely devoid of corpses. The commander remarks that such a phenomenon is impossible, asserting that even if a warrior wielded mana at an exceptionally high level, they couldn't achieve this. His shock deepens as he realizes that even the dragon corpse of Ojuglas is missing from its location. The commander orders one of his men to report the situation to the guild immediately, instructing him to inform them that all the corpses and toxins in the area have vanished. The soldier runs to carry out the command. But suddenly, a black sphere flies toward him, striking his head and causing him to collapse instantly, followed by an explosion at the spot. Hearing the scream and explosion, the commander and his group rush to investigate. They find the soldier burned from the explosion, and the commander demands an explanation for what caused it. He expresses concern, stating that if this continues, the entire corpse disposal site could be destroyed. At that moment, the commander notices someone pointing at him, addressing him as a coward who, despite being the current head of engineering for the Volcano Guild, still hides behind others. The figure is revealed to be Iron, who calls the commander the traitor Kim. Kim is stunned to see Iron alive and questions how he survived, also asking if it's truly Iron. Iron responds mockingly, expressing disappointment that Kim couldn't recognize him due to a slight change in appearance, or perhaps because he doesn't want to believe Iron is still alive. Kim becomes enraged as Iron reveals that he knows Kim betrayed him and became a guild commander, though he's even more of a coward than before. Kim yells at Iron to shut up and orders his men, the Black Falcon, to eliminate him immediately. The guards begin executing the order. It is revealed that the Black Falcon are highly trained guards for the leaders of a guild known as Hwasun, with skills and experience rated above level 90 by players' assessments. Iron comments that stealth is the Black Falcon's primary technique, and their ability to remain invisible poses a significant threat, but not to him, as he can detect their positions without needing to see them. He adds that for an ordinary player, sensing the internal energy of opponents would be impossible, but since he has reached the third stage of the demon blood absorption technique, known as Black Blood, he can now use black spheres, which split like shotgun blasts upon being launched at a target. When these spheres hit an opponent, they immediately begin absorbing the target's internal energy and magical abilities. This is precisely what happened to the soldier who attempted to report to the guild. Iron starts launching his black spheres at all members of the Black Falcon, effortlessly wiping them out all at once. Meanwhile, Kim watches the scene unfold, unable to believe how Iron has gained such immense abilities. He attempts to activate his skill display to analyze Iron's abilities, but as soon as he opens it, he's struck by a sudden, excruciating headache. When Kim looks at the information on the display, he finds it incomprehensible, as if it's encrypted, leaving him frustrated and even more confused. As Iron faces Kim's glaring eyes, he tells him he's well aware that Kim will try to uncover the secret behind his newfound power. He adds that he's certain Kim's curiosity has been sparked, as always, since he never faces an opponent without first gathering all possible information about them, fitting for someone with Kim's rank in the guild. Kim looks at him defiantly and asks if he's really that confident, then declares that he's no longer the same Kim Iron once knew from their days in the Dank group. Kim draws his sword, pointing it at Iron, and announces that he is now the raid commander of the Hwasun Guild. Continuing his speech, Kim accuses Iron of still being the same, always seeing himself as superior and pretending to be in the right. He shouts that Iron has never done anything except what he wanted, just as he used to, recklessly making decisions without considering the consequences for his teammate or partner. Iron responds calmly, acknowledging that he indeed plans to do as he pleases, then throws a black sphere toward Kim's massive sword. The moment the sphere touches the sword, a powerful explosion forces Kim to retreat. Iron follows up with another black sphere aimed at Kim, saying that despite Kim's claims of having changed and becoming a raid commander, the truth is that he hasn't changed at all. He launches the sphere, adding that the guild Kim belongs to clearly didn't train him as well as they should have. Kim attempts to counter the black sphere using the white shield magic. The shield successfully protects him from the explosion. Kim then screams at Iron and charges at him with his sword, but Iron easily evades the attack. Believing he's finally closing in on victory, Kim declares that this is the end for Iron. However, just as Kim raises his sword to finish him off, Iron uses another black sphere, triggering yet another explosion that forces Kim to retreat once more. Kim stands in disbelief, demanding to know how Iron has become so powerful. He yells, asserting that he was certain Iron had lost his abilities as a player, and demands to know how he's capable of this. Iron replies mockingly, stating that it's pointless for a cowardly traitor like Kim to know his secret. Kim's fury grows, and he attacks Iron violently with his sword, declaring in anger that this time, Iron will die. Iron calmly responds, reminding him that he had already made it clear that Kim's sword and fighting style are worthless against him. He then produces another black sphere. Kim attempts to counter with a new technique called Wall Shield, summoning earthen walls that surround Iron from all sides. Kim strategizes, believing that Iron has no means of attack besides the black spheres, and concludes that immobilizing him with the wall shield will neutralize his movements. Acting on this plan, Kim thrusts his sword through the walls, attempting to strike Iron. Kim then unleashes another technique, Weapons Night, causing a massive explosion that obliterates the wall shield and everything inside it, including Iron. Kim stands confidently, convinced that he has finally eliminated Iron. He believes that no one, not even the highest-ranking warriors, could survive such an explosion. But moments later, as the smoke begins to clear, Kim sees Iron still standing in the same spot, completely unharmed by the blast. Kim is driven to madness and demands to know how this is possible. He draws his second sword, preparing for another attack, but Iron interrupts, telling him it's already too late, then moves with blinding speed to grab Kim by the face and slam him into the ground with tremendous force. Kim screams in pain, unable to comprehend what is happening, or how Iron wields such incredible strength. Iron looks at Kim and remarks that it's all very simple, isn't it? The scene shifts to a chaotic world as Iron's voice narrates that chaos is a being that grows stronger by consuming worlds. It transcends time and space, traveling through dimensions in search of someone worthy to become its vessel. He adds that worlds dominated by chaos are consumed as sustenance and then disappear forever. Iron then speaks of himself, explaining that he trained for over 100 years to contain this chaos. We then see the three kings, with King Moyang stating that he has done everything he could. The Demon Queen asks what the next step would be if their efforts fail, to which the Sword King replies that there will be nothing more they can do. Meanwhile, Iron stands before a screen that informs him that crossing this passage will make him the vessel of chaos. Iron declares that the fate of the entire world hinges on what lies beyond this place. Suddenly, King Moyang calls out to him and asks for his name. Iron, startled, questions how he could be asking for his name after spending 100 years together. Moyang laughs, saying it feels like he's grown accustomed to Iron's presence over this time. He adds that Iron was once known as the ghost without a heart, blood, or tears. Moyang then looks at him and comments that Iron seems to have changed, as if he's developed some sort of attachment to him. Iron replies that his name is Iron Lee, but something strange happens immediately afterward. We see Iron throwing himself forward, screaming intensely. The Demon Queen catches him and tells him that he has succeeded, calling out to Moyang. Iron responds that he feels like sleeping, and Moyang explains that it's due to the chaos within him, as his body resists its power. The Sword King adds that chaos is attempting to influence Iron's soul, warning that nightmares will haunt him whenever he sleeps. He cautions Iron that if he falls into one of these nightmares, the chaos he has contained within him will resurface. Iron tells the Sword King that he had anticipated all of this, then looks at him and states that this is why he must kill him now. The three kings look at him in shock, unable to respond to his words. King Moyang then says that he had always known this would happen, revealing that it was part of their plan from the beginning. Iron mocks him, asking if he thought he was just a failed student. Standing tall, Iron declares that the goal is to trap chaos within a human body, and then eradicate it completely. He tells them that what they now seek is the total annihilation of the chaos entity. The Sword King asks him, if you knew all of this from the beginning, why did you cooperate with us? Iron replies that everyone he knew had betrayed him, leaving him with nothing and unable to trust anyone. But with them, he felt warmth and security he had never experienced before, and now he no longer cares about vengeance against anyone. He adds that all he wants now is to repay their kindness. He then requests that they tell him their true names as his final wish. The three kings fall silent, visibly moved by his words. King Moyang is the first to reveal his true name, Shin. The Sword King follows, stating that his true name is Sigurd. Finally, the Demon Queen says her true name is Bergina. Iron responds that he has no further requests and declares that he will die here for his masters, the three kings. He closes his eyes, preparing for death, but the Sword King approaches him and tells him that he will not die here. Iron appears confused and unaware of what's happening, prompting the Demon Queen to tell him that he is not just their disciple, he is also their child. King Moyang asks how they could possibly kill someone like him with their own hands. Iron tells them that this means they won't carry out their mission. The Demon Queen approaches him and says that the chaos within him will be divided among them, and they will bear its burden together to contain it completely. She adds that the chaos within him was a result of their teachings, which makes their power capable of controlling it. Afterward, the dimensional links will be severed, and Iron will be able to return to the place he belongs. He asks her what will happen to them after that. The Sword King responds that they will be imprisoned somewhere in the world. The three kings bid farewell to Iron, instructing him to return to his world and never try to find them again. The scene shifts back to Iron at the corpse disposal site, reflecting on the immense power he learned from his masters and contemplating its limits. Iron feels the magnitude of his strength and recalls that he was on the verge of attaining a high rank. He considers testing his power against other humans, rather than his masters, and believes that facing humans will be far simpler. Iron notes that while Kim is not one of the top elite, his level is approximately 150 or higher. He contemplates gaining even greater strength that surpasses the demon blood technique, thinking that if he achieves this, no one could defeat him, not even the leaders of the Volcano Guild, or those of higher ranks in the Silver Faction, or even the strongest individuals from Einhart and Gehenna. Not even the elite of the world, known as the One-Handed, would stand a chance against him. After all this, Iron realizes that the revenge he planned for 100 years no longer feels justified. As he thinks about this, he holds Kim by the face. Kim begins to scream and plead for Iron to spare him. Kim continues begging, claiming that they had no choice but to betray him. Iron raises his hand and asks what he means by having no choice. Kim explains that if they hadn't betrayed him, they all would have died, and that their actions were the only way to save themselves, and even him. Enraged, Iron asks how Kim can claim he did it to save him when he is now the raid commander of the Volcano Guild, while Iron suffered daily. Iron directs a black sphere toward Kim, but Kim screams and offers to reveal the whereabouts of the others if Iron spares him. Iron responds that Kim betrayed him once, and now he will betray them too. Placing his hand back on Kim, Iron tells him that when he dies, the others will hear about it. He presses harder, telling Kim he'll go to hell now and wait for the others to join him soon. Then, he kills Kim. In the next scene, Iron emerges from the site and breaks the chains that had confined the slaves. The slaves and guards realize that the man who broke the chains and emerged from the toxic pit had defeated the Black Falcons and Commander Kim. Iron looks at these people and reflects that if not for his masters, his fate would have been like theirs. He understands that leaving them in this place will lead to their deaths, so he decides to take matters into his own hands. Iron begins launching black spheres toward them, causing panic and fear. Many try to flee, but the spheres hit them. Chaos, crying, and fear of death ensue, but they soon realize that Iron wasn't trying to kill them. Instead, he was targeting the marks of slavery placed on them by the Volcano Guild. Iron uses his power to destroy the cave where they were held. He tells them they can either die under the rubble or escape and live freely. The choice is theirs. Iron leaves the cave with ease, flying over the rocks. Standing on a high vantage point, he gazes at the world before him. He remembers that when he met his masters, his only goal was to destroy this world. After witnessing their sacrifices, he finally understands what he must do. As he walks, he declares that this world is filled with chaos, and he will consume it and make it his own. The scene transitions to investigations underway at the corpse disposal site. A figure remarks that what happened there is utterly absurd. He adds that he reviewed the report they received but never expected its contents to be true. The figure is revealed to be Cheong-woo, leader of the Red Plum Raid of the Volcano Guild. Looking at Kim's headless body, he remarks that it's no surprise the Volcano Guild is in chaos when someone like Kim, a beggar from nowhere, was made a raid commander. He then asks one of the guild soldiers about the information obtained from interrogating the slaves found at the site. The slaves are shown being tortured, but the soldier reports that they remember nothing, likely because their memories were deliberately erased. Cheong notes that even their marks of slavery were removed, and the soldier confirms that they found evidence of someone destroying the magical circle of slavery. Cheong thinks that whoever did this must be someone on the level of a master, then asks if they discovered anything else. The soldier responds that there was no trace of martial arts or players in the area, and that it seems like the work of Einhart sorcerers, or Gehenna demons. Cheong comments that it clearly looks like the work of Gehenna demons, and states that he knows their objective. At that moment, another soldier arrives using magical abilities, seemingly appearing out of nowhere. He informs Cheong that they've discovered that the dragon corpse of Ojuglas is also missing. Cheong considers that if Gehenna demons are behind it, they have many ways to utilize the dragon without needing to purify it of toxins. He orders the soldier to contact headquarters immediately and investigate any Gehenna demon activity from the past year up to the last month. After the soldier vanishes as quickly as he arrived, Cheong wonders why Kim was at the site in the first place. A soldier responds that Kim was there to confirm the death of a slave named Iron. Cheong's interest peaks upon hearing Iron's name. He muses that if the slave in question is the same Iron who was close to obtaining a high rank, his name would have been known by now. Cheong asks if they found Iron's body, and the soldier replies that Iron entered the disposal site's pit after breaking the slave's marks a month ago. Cheong comments that Iron is surely dead, as no human body could survive the toxins in that place. He orders them to gather everything they can from the site, and then hunt down all the escaped slaves. The scene transitions to Dongdaemun in Seoul. Iron is shown entering a place for meetings and drinks. While there, he overhears people talking. Two individuals discuss the attack on the corpse disposal site, with one wondering who would be insane enough to attack such a place. A woman suggests that people believe Gehenna demons are responsible, and another person responds that they were likely after the dragon corpse of Ojuglas. Another individual adds that this could mean the end of the truce between the factions, and his companion agrees, saying it's likely as this attack violates the Volcano Guild's domain. Iron reflects that everyone seems to be talking about the Volcano Guild, but he isn't surprised since it's one of the 3 largest guilds in South Korea. Iron states that they'll only need to wait a little longer before he eliminates them all. He decides that the first thing he needs to do is locate Master Moyang's sect, as it's the best way to become even stronger than he currently is. Since he has no official status or existence in the country in his current condition, this is the only place where he can reach the people he needs. He heads to a bar, where the bartender asks him what drink he'd like. Iron requests a milk-based drink, but clarifies that he wants it without milk and with ice. The bartender is puzzled by the odd request, but the manager, overhearing the exchange, steps in and asks the bartender to organize the storage room while he personally handles Iron's order. The manager waits for the bartender to leave before speaking to Iron privately. He tells Iron that the code he used is very outdated and hasn't been in use for years, asking if Iron came through a time gate 5 years ago. Iron replies that he came from much further back, over 100 years ago. The manager wonders aloud if Iron is one of the demons. Iron denies this, and adds that such labels don't matter in this place, since everything illegal is handled here, including demon-related activities. The manager agrees and asks why Iron has come to this place. It's revealed that the manager's name is Jang, and he's the head of Seoul's black market. Iron tells him that he's here to work with them. Jang asks what kind of job he's capable of handling. Iron responds that he can handle any task as long as it's in a rank D gate or higher. Jang tells Iron he has the perfect job for him. He unlocks a drawer and pulls out several documents, spreading them on the bar for Iron to choose from. After examining the documents, Iron selects one and remarks that it involves a kidnapping operation. Jang confirms this, explaining that the operation involves luring beginners with promises of quick advancement, then trapping them and demanding ransoms from their families. He also notes that they target the children of wealthy families, meaning Iron could earn a lot of money from this job, with a payout of 200 million won. However, Jang will take a 30% cut. Iron gathers the documents and questions Jang about the nature of this immoral job. Jang becomes tense, grabs a hidden gun from under the bar, and asks Iron if he has a problem or whether he came to work or not. Jang brandishes the gun and explains that sometimes fools come here to talk about justice and try to ruin the place. He continues, saying that instead of thinking about such ideals, Iron should consider the people who rely on this place for their livelihoods, warning that their wrath will be directed at him if their source of income is cut off. When Iron sees the gun pointed at him and Jang's finger on the trigger, he reassures him, saying his comments meant he was impressed by the job. He asks Jang to calm the men sitting behind him and ease their hostile intentions. Jang smiles in satisfaction, admitting he noticed the men behind him, which gives him confidence in entrusting this job to Iron. Yang hands Iron a phone, telling him he'll contact him soon to set a date for the operation, and advises him to be prepared. He also asks why Iron hasn't ordered anything to drink while in the bar, noting that this isn't just an ordinary place. Iron responds that he'd rather not, to avoid any trouble. Yang jokingly asks if it's because Iron is driving and afraid of drinking beforehand. Iron replies that the reason is different. If he drank and fell asleep in this place, everyone in it would die because he fears the chaos within him might awaken again. Jang smiles, saying he was only teasing, and assures Iron that he's not obligated to drink anything and can do as he pleases. However, Iron states that he won't stay long and decides to leave, walking out as Jang watches him go, thinking mockingly that Iron is a young man carrying baggage and illusions tied to his past, and someone like that won't last long in this line of work. The scene transitions to another location in Namyangju at a rank D gate, where a large building stands guarded by 2 sentries. A group of young players arrives in front of the building, and one of them calls out to a player named Shul. Shul greets them and calls one of the boys Hong, introducing his teammates as the beginner players who joined them that day. He asks them to take good care of the newcomers, whom he considers like siblings. Shul asks Hong how he feels about participating in his first field mission. Hong laughs nervously and admits that he's a little anxious. Shul reassures him, explaining that his team has been working together for 3 years, and that a rank D gate isn't a particularly difficult challenge for them. He points to 2 other participants in the operation, and tells Hong they are freelance mercenaries, independent fighters who work for pay. Among them is Iron. The young players express concern upon learning that mercenaries will be joining them. Shul tries to calm them, explaining that these mercenaries are highly skilled and professional in martial arts, having worked with him for 3 years as well. He reassures Hong and asks the team to take care of him and the others. As Iron watches silently, he thinks it's natural for beginners to feel uneasy around mercenaries, given their notorious reputation for ruthless acts akin to Gehenna demons. He realizes that the manager presented him as a freelance mercenary for this very reason, but suddenly notices something unusual. Among the young players, he sees a girl who doesn't seem nervous or surprised by the presence of mercenaries. He looks at her, thinking that he might have finally found what he's been searching for in this place. The scene transitions to the camp where the beginners are being trained. At night, the team sits around a campfire. Hong sits with Shul and thanks him for helping him significantly improve his experience level. Shul asks Hong how he found the bus ride that brought them to the site. Hong responds by asking if he and his teammates can hunt independently the next day, noting that Shul told them this method would help them gain real experience. Shul reassures them, explaining that he has carefully planned everything and chosen a location where they can hunt safely without encountering any danger. He tells Hong that this will be their first real adventure and encourages him to get a good rest tonight. Hong expresses his happiness and trusts Shul completely. After Hong and his teammates enter their tent to sleep, Shul laughs with his team, commenting that he wants the beginners to keep believing that. Meanwhile, Iron sits alone by another fire. The girl who didn't seem afraid earlier approaches him and asks if she can sit with him. He doesn't respond, so she moves closer and sits beside him. She asks if he's truly one of the mercenaries, then follows up with another question, asking about his martial arts level, and noting that he didn't participate in the hunting activity earlier that day. Iron responds sarcastically, saying it's rude to ask a martial artist about their rank. The girl, startled, apologizes and explains that she didn't know because she's a beginner. Iron observes her with interest, noting that she didn't even try to feign embarrassment, which is quite telling. She then asks if she can at least know his name. Iron pauses for a moment, looking at her, before finally replying that his name is Iron. The girl, Una, thinks the name sounds familiar but can't recall why. At that moment, her friend calls out to her, addressing her as Una, and tells her it's her turn to take watch, and that she should get some rest afterward. Una stands to leave but stops briefly, telling Iron she enjoyed talking to him, even if only for a short time. Before entering her tent, she glances back at him one last time, thinking he seems like a good person, but also feeling an inexplicable unease in his presence. The following morning, the team begins their hunting operation. Shul is shown killing a monster with his sword. One of his teammates informs him that time is running out, and that the gate is about to close. Shul calls out to Hong, instructing him and his group to leave now, otherwise they'll have to stay and face the boss monster. Hong protests, asking if they can accompany Shul to fight the boss, pointing out that Shul is capable of defeating it. Shul agrees that's true but expresses concern that Hong might get hurt. Hong insists passionately that he's a player now, and if he keeps running from challenges out of fear of getting hurt, he'll never become stronger. Hong pleads with Shul not to worry, assuring him that he's ready to fight alongside him. Shul smirks slyly, thinking to himself that Hong and his team have fallen into his trap. He praises Hong for having the true spirit of a player and assigns him the task of handling the surrounding monsters. Excited, Hong draws his sword and leads his team toward the monsters. Suddenly, a notification appears about the gate closing, and we see the gate shutting with the beginners still inside. Hong quickly realizes he's outmatched by the monster in front of him, which easily disarms him, sending his sword flying. He calls out to Shul for help, but Shul responds that he's busy dealing with ghouls, and that Hong must handle the monster himself. Hong finds himself in a dire situation as the monster proves stronger and larger than he anticipated, almost finishing him off. Desperate, Hong pulls a magical scroll from his pocket, admitting he never imagined he'd need to use it. It's revealed that the scroll releases a powerful firebolt. The firebolt shoots out from the scroll, striking the monster and killing it instantly. Hong laughs in relief and joy at his victory. Shul approaches him, apologizing for being unable to help due to the ghoul attack, and comments on Hong's luck in possessing such a powerful scroll. Hong explains that his father gave him the scroll and told him to use it only in extremely dangerous situations, as it's a one-time use item. Shul remarks that this means Hong doesn't have any more scrolls, and Hong confirms this, adding that they're also very expensive. Shul responds that this is good, then pulls out another magical scroll and shows it to Hong, piquing his curiosity. Suddenly, Shul utters the word, bind, activating the scroll, which releases magical ropes that completely tie up Hong. Hong falls to the ground in shock, asking Shul why he's doing this. Looking around, Hong realizes that all his teammates have been similarly restrained. Shul stands with a smug grin alongside his team, thanking Hong for walking straight into their trap. At first, Hong thinks Shul is joking and asks him to stop and free them, but Shul slaps him hard across the face, mocking him for his stupidity, questioning if it comes from being part of a wealthy family. He adds sarcastically, if Hong still thinks this is just a joke. Terror creeps into Hong as Shul places his sword near Hong's ear, threatening to cut it off to help him understand the situation. At that moment, Una suddenly attacks, striking one of Shul's teammates with her sword as she charges toward him. Shul is caught off guard by her assault, but manages to block her strike with his sword, demanding to know how she broke free from the magical binding. Una responds sarcastically, asking what else he expected her to do, then activates the sword aura skill on her weapon. Shul is visibly shocked to see her using this ability and engages her in combat. During their clash, he realizes she's a skilled martial artist and deduces that this is why the binding spell didn't work on her, though he remains puzzled since his intel indicated she was just a beginner player. Una counters by questioning whether Shul is truly a second-tier player within rank D or secretly a first-tier player in rank C. Suddenly, another voice orders Shul to step back, declaring that a martial arts expert should face someone of her level. The speaker is revealed to be the leader of the kidnapping team, the same individual Shul previously introduced as a mercenary, alongside Iron. The leader comments that he can tell from her sword aura that she's among the elite like himself, but asks her, even with your impressive fighting spirit, do you really think you can defeat all of us? Una looks around and notices that the gang has surrounded her. Realizing that there are 3 rank C fighters in addition to a martial arts expert among them, she understands that she cannot take them on alone. The leader warns her that if she doesn't make the first move, he will. He then attacks her directly, but she skillfully defends against his strikes. Mocking her, he asks if all she can do is defend, to which she retorts that she's not as weak as he thinks, and counters with a surprising offensive maneuver that displays her high-level skills. During the fight, one of the gang members tries to attack her from behind, but she senses him just in time and dodges his strike. Shortly after, 3 gang members converge on her simultaneously, making the situation even more challenging. Meanwhile, Shul speaks to Iron, commenting on how he didn't see him participating in the hunt, and asking what he was doing. He then instructs Iron to go capture Una if he wants to earn his pay. Iron doesn't respond, but calmly moves toward Una and her struggle with the 3 opponents. When Una notices Iron approaching her, she feels uneasy, having been overwhelmed by a strange sensation every time she's seen him since the day before. Even when their eyes meet, she feels an inexplicable fear she cannot understand. She silently wonders who this man truly is, and what his secret might be.